We are slowly but surely approaching the most anticipated videos in this series and the most anticipated reactions that you guys want to see. Don't worry, we'll get there. But for now, we have to go back a bit and watch some of the MEGAMIND theories because those play a part into the overarching DreamWorks Mort timeline theory. This is MEGAMIND, City of Deception, Metro Man Part 1. I only watched MEGAMIND like once, and that was years and years ago. I do not know the entire plot of the movie. I only know like certain things here, like Metro Man and stuff like that, but I don't really know much about the movie, whereas like Over the Hedge or Madagascar, I know a lot about the movie. I watched the movie multiple times, and I know about the movie. MEGAMIND, I don't know, like, anything about the movie. So, once again, commentary may be a little low in density, which means that I'm probably going to be able to react to both videos in one sitting without having to, like, take the video length of 40 minutes. But we'll see what happens here, because, you know, you never know with these kind of things, because even with the ones that I don't know anything about, I'm pausing and talking about things, and inferring based on what he said, even though, again, I don't know anything about the movie. But anyway, let's start. I'm gonna be able to do both parts, of the Metro Man Duology theory. So, this is an older one, 2018.
Hello, I'm the Theorizer. A MEGAMIND theory has been in the works for a whole year now, and I finally discovered something sort of worth the constant observing.
Okay.
Luckily, the polls suggest a MEGAMIND video is a good idea, so let's analyze.
MEGAMIND, Tangle, a small mysterious one that's not been solved. Fairy Opinions, Up, Inside Out, Toy Story, something else, Pixar. He already did the Pixar theory number 1, which I've watched on my own time. I've not reacted to the entire thing. I've watched it on my own time. So, yeah.
Out of the entirety of this film, I'm particularly interested in the parts we are not given much information about. This is obviously MEGAMIND's childhood.
Yeah.
We are given very little information about his home planet or what caused its destruction. We see a black hole is responsible, though there's always the chance something shadier went on.
Isn't MEGAMIND like an alien of some sort that was brought to Earth and wanted to take over Earth? Is that the basis of the movie? Is that the basis? Like, he wants to take over Earth because he is an alien life form that is now on Earth? And Metro Man wants to be the hero and stop him? Unless what he's trying to say here is Metro Man's the villain. Again, I don't know anything about MEGAMIND. I'm just kind of talking out of my ass at this point. Also, kind of thinking about what he could possibly be saying about these movies.
For another day, though. Right now, we
don't take anything I say as like undeniable fact, because again, I've not seen this movie.
What seemed very weird to me was how MEGAMIND hopped out of the jail and went to school only a few yards away. Why is it so close? Was this for comedic effect? Was it an exaggeration? A false memory of his life? No, it can't be that, because a couple scenes later we see it yet again at a different angle. It's like that in more than one scene. This school is right next to a maximum security prison. What kind of horrendous planner approved this? It's not even really a school. It's like a singular schoolhouse with like a single teacher and a few quote-unquote gifted kids. But this is just according to the slogan. Gifted as in MEGAMIND, gifted as in Metro Man, gifted as in apparently just all the normal children, and this girl who seems to have disabilities is included too. So is this school just for standard children, or is there something different about these children? It could just be a fun slogan, but then there's the frightening fact that right next door there's a penitentiary housing the quote-unquote criminally gifted. Little gifted kids, crazy gifted criminals. Coincidence? I think not.
There's
These
no
two
coincidence.
have got to be tied. There's something too strange with all of this. Want more evidence of a direct correlation? Happy to oblige. How about the fact that the main mode of this prison's transportation
It's a bus.
appears to be a school bus?
Yeah, a school bus.
It's branded with the prison name, but
Metro City
lo and
Prison Bus.
behold, something else can be seen hidden and blurred for a split second behind young
Metro
Megamind. A blatant confirmation that it belongs to the Metro City School District. Holy crap! Well, it could just be an old bus that the prison was given by the
No.
school system, but
No.
the bus literally goes to the school still.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it
indicating
goes to
otherwise.
school.
And it could all be nothing, but DreamWorks did make a point of having each side of the bus read different things. And they made a point of hiding one of the titles in plain sight. The animators of DreamWorks usually don't go out of their way to change things like this.
No,
Most
see,
newspapers
we know from DreamWorks that they don't do things purely just because they want to do it. They put things into these movies because they want people to analyze and look at the little details in the movies. Like with Over the Hedge of Madagascar. They didn't just make Gladys and Dubois similar just because they wanted similar characters. They purposely made it that way. The same with Dwayne LaFontaine and Dubois having both French last names. Also, the other French last names in the DreamWorks universe. They know what they're doing. DreamWorks are not stupid. They aren't doing these things because, oh, hey, it would be funny if we just made these French characters, you know, those same animal exterminators. They didn't do that. They were like, okay, we want to make movies very similar. We want there to be a pattern in our movies. How can we do that? French animal exterminators. Have one in the B movie, because one of you guys said in the comments of the DreamWorks Everything is Connected video reaction that I did, one of you guys said that the B movie lawyer has a French last name. I couldn't find that in the video when I searched it up, but thank you, because that further proves the theory that there's a pattern in these DreamWorks movies. There's so much of a pattern, and I cannot wait to see how he expands this pattern in parts 21 to 23. And like I said, I know a lot of people want to do my reaction to part 21. It's coming. It is coming. Do not worry. I'll get this video, we'll react to both Metro Man theories, and then I'll react to the Mysteries of Megamind Home Planet Solved theory. That'll be a singular video. And then we get to the good shit.
in the film just have a set of keyboard letters repeated over and over because they kept typing to randomly fill the text slot. So for this to be of significance to them, it indicates they mean something more. Why would a children's school bus...
Also, yeah, again, they could have just put any random letters there, but they chose to specifically make letters that form what the school district is. They had to have done that on purpose, because like you said, in the newspaper, it's all just random letters. So why didn't they do that on the school bus? And why did they instead opt to put letters that when put together for Metro City School District? They had to have planted that as a way of knowing, like, okay, well, you can link stuff to the school district. Because not only is it a prison bus, it also belongs to the Metro City School District. So, the school and the prison are 100% connected and related in some way. And I guess he's trying to figure out how they're connected.
Bars on the windows. Why wouldn't the prison just paint over the words that say school district? Well, as I said, maybe the two truly are.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
If all of this wasn't proof enough that something shady was never explained, then simply observe the schoolroom intensely.
Yeah.
If you look at the bus drawn at the front of the room, it has
School.
a bunch of class children, and monitoring everything from the back, just sitting there, is a perfect depiction reflection of the warden, observing,
It's the school.
watching. Upon finding all of this, I had a single thought. Holy wow, these two are
they're
connected. Obviously. Look at that. There's some reason that they keep a children's elementary school right next to a prison. They teach children who are gifted, hence why they sent Megamind and Metro Man there, but why? It seems to be a school of gifted children, intelligent, physically adept. Each of them has something, clearly including the girl they tried to single out. But why build the gifted school next to a prison for gifted villains?
There's some
government testing,
semblance.
precaution in case things get out of hand with the kids that are too smart. There's nothing really special about the teacher, and the so-called gifted kids sing Itsy Bitsy Spider instead of doing anything actually important. There's something strange going on here, and I think I'm on to something. Now, I have minimal evidence for what I'm about to say, but I'd like to propose it. Metro Man's adoptive parents, according to a close zoom I made on their presence, are named Bobby and Sally, and they are unbelievably rich individuals. Look at their mansion and the amount of gear they gave their son to let him flourish. Their son is an alien, one who, like it or not, would be quite alienated from everybody else. They don't treat him as a human. Everybody...
I mean, that's why he's in the school, right? Because if Megamind's an alien and Metro Man's an alien, it would make sense that both of them are not treated like humans. Like he said, Metro Man is not treated like a human. Why would he be in the school if he was a human? Are all of these kids that are in the school not human? That's the... I haven't even seen the movie and I'm getting like chills because I said this at the beginning of the reaction. I said this. Even though it's not a movie that I have like known and seen a lot, I'm still pausing and talking about it. Like, it's wild. Because that just shows that Theorizer makes some banger-ass theories. Because even if you haven't seen the movie that he's theorizing about, you're still pausing and talking about it. You're still talking about his theories and his ideas and his sort of like presentations of certain things. It's awesome. It's fucking awesome. I love it.
Even his own parents treat him as a superior being, whether they love him or even fear him, but more on that in a sec. Even when Metro Man quits at the end of the movie, he says he's gotten tired of it all. He feels alienated and...
Also, Theorizer, if you're watching this, if you want to get me on TV, you can. Like, that's gonna happen. That's not gonna fucking happen.
So he degrades himself into a bad singer to be like everybody else. Common sense tells us...
There's no way that I get in on a theory with Theorizer. There's
so in
no
order to
fucking
make
way.
him feel at home or to fit in, his parents could have done many things. They can't exactly make him more normal, but they can make everybody else seem a bit more equal to him. Sort of like a staged method of therapy, such as a youth group or a school for so-called gifted kids, to make him feel like he's fitting in. No children there are visibly gifted or worthy of going to a school with such a title. They're just normal kids. If his parents and the government did have a school constructed for their future savior's benefit, then it completely explains why he had such authority to do whatever he wanted with the school. Rip it out of the ground, move it out far towards a beach, use it as a hideout for years after its disestablishment, throw around the teacher, etc., etc. And it only leaves the question, why would they build it next to the prison of criminally gifted
That's
convicts?
true, why?
Well, it could be to monitor Metro Man's ego, but more likely, Megamind. The only one who could possibly contrast Metro Man. Both are aliens scared from a supermassive black hole with some form of an immense gift who received polarizing lives. It's the perfect making for a hero. As this movie's moral states, a superhero can't exist unless there's a supervillain. They tortured Megamind relentlessly in school for no reason other than to torment him. The school builds Metro Man's ego uncontrollably, and they only stop bugging Megamind once he's officially made his decision to become a villain, like the grand plan would have tried to achieve. And this movie's other grand moral is, yes, heroes and villains aren't born. They always have to be made.
Yeah.
Now there's some good reason for this collection of evidence.
Exactly, that's like just true. In order for there to be a hero, there has to be some sort of villain to fight against. I mean, that's just the fucking truth. That is the truth in all of these superhero movies. And the fact that everyone stopped bugging Megamind only when he made up his mind and said, you know what, that's it, I'm gonna become a villain. They stopped bugging him. And that's when I think Metro Man started becoming a hero, because he had someone to fight against.
I've gathered.
It also answers whether we're holding its baby in jail for years to use him as a villain.
But
True!
why worship this kid? Why submit to this flying baby? It's as I mentioned before. Deep down, they all fear him. If his ego builds, or even his fear of being alone, things could get very out of hand. They need someone he can divert his attention to, someone who can make him feel good about himself, a perfect villain. And when Metro Man realizes the truth of what's happened, he quits. That's when he becomes humble again, and finally tries to be like a normal human being. Watching the movie over and over again, I keep getting this feeling like the city thinks differently of Metro Man than we'd like to believe. They all convince themselves that they love him, but really think about it. The amount of danger and fear these people must live in is astounding. Not of Megamind, he really doesn't win, ever. They fear Metro Man and submit to him. This film's goal is to really go for a different take on superhero stories, and this is more proof of it. But the people who feel slightly spooked by Metro Man, they've built this false dependency on him, a sort of indirect form of Stockholm syndrome, a condition where a victim falls for their captor. Metro Man feels trapped by the public and media, and the public feels trapped by Metro Man. That's why it truly was such a brilliant idea to fake his death. The city is a vast sea of deficient sheeple. A very short time after Metro Man dies, they all care so deeply about the ex-villain who saved them this time. They follow the leader. They've all been misled, and it's genuinely frightening. On the surface, they all react so expectedly to everything. They boo the villain instead of cowering in fear. They overly cheer for the hero. But under the surface, the sense of brokenness is very much so visible. Metro Man's powers seem to come with a general...
Well, I'm gonna mute for a little bit. I'm gonna mute for like a couple seconds, don't worry. Okay, I'm back.
Sense of false heroism that only he can naturally contain. When Hal absorbed all of the power, he immediately treated himself like a god. He developed a horrendously blatant sense of hero syndrome, which is basically where someone puts other people in danger just so that they can save them and act like a hero. And oh, Hal goes nuts with this kind of thing. It's his brain. It cannot handle it all, and this is why people have the right to fear Metro Man. His powers are uncontrollable, and the true fear he instills in people is an observation only apparent once you analyze and deduce your way to a shocker conclusion.
Next one! Let's go! Metro Man Part 2.
The movie Megamind is fantastic, and I love every little bit of it. In very, very early 2018, I made a video on it featuring some of the most fantastic inductive reasoning I think I've ever put into a YouTube video. I'd recommend watching it first, since a lot of this video is just going to be touching up the largely rough edges of the last theory, which revolved around Metro Man's parents and everyone in the city being afraid of the very hero they worship. They think of him as a god, a great and terrible entity who they feel the need to please at all costs. My theory was also that they intentionally shaped Megamind into a villain so that Metro Man could have a distraction and not become a villain himself. Great video, and you all seemed to absolutely love it, but I received some more evidence in the comments section and I'm returning to touch it up.
Alright, let's go. Let's hear the touch of evidence to back up his claims in the first part.
Hello, I'm the Theorizer,
Hello.
and first we have the golden question. What if the children in the school are just kids of the prisoners? Now, most of the time when people comment things, and this applies to all my theories, Coraline ones, video game ones, all of them, either I've already discussed that very topic in another video, or I'd already considered it before making the video, and I dumped the idea. And this is no exception. The reason I ditched the idea of them being kids of the prisoners is because it doesn't make complete sense. Sure, they can visit their parents, but why place the school next to it, and why intentionally label them both as gifted too? There are just too many obvious logical holes in that idea, and it isn't normal or consistent with the logic the rest of this movie often shows. The kids also are not super evil, like I think I implied they weren't in the last video. Indeed, for those of you wondering, the school isn't next to the prison to teach possible criminals or gifted kids even. This is evident in the activities we see the kids doing, and ultimately in the end, I quite successfully tried to prove that it was all a setup by Metro Man's adoptive parents to make him feel loved and special. So those two counter-arguments to the schoolhouse's abnormal proximity to the prison are dealt with. On to more pressing interests. I think I myself have more proof for Megamind's villainy being staged by the government at Metro Man's parents' behest. Sure, they all bullied Megamind irrationally, but the warden also just kind of erases Megamind's several life sentences at the end. Sure, he saved the city, but he still indirectly caused a ton of destruction and was the literal cause of Hal becoming overpowered, yet his sentences were removed at the end. I believe this was because the prison took full responsibility for their actions in shaping Megamind's quasi-evil nature. But since the video came out far earlier this year, I've been continuously noticing further proof that the city is almost putting on an act to allow Megamind to escape and fight Metro Man. I'm serious. I cannot unsee this now. Firstly, Megamind and Metro Man have the same initials, MM. Were they subtly psychologically pushed into choosing these names by the government so that when Metro Man inevitably quit upon possibly discovering his life was a lie, the government could spend less money on the rebranding of the city's hero? No, that can't be, because the city itself was named after Metro Man. It has to be. Do you wish to know how I could possibly believe this? Well, we barely get to see a pathetic sliver of the boys' home planets, but on a big monitor in the background of the destruction, we can barely see what their planets' names are. Megaplanet and Metroplanet. What? So if the city named itself after the race of its savior, then they really are pushing his narcissism to save him and take it out on the other superior being they've kept pinned in a prison to solidify his role as evil. This city plays along like a mass fiddle orchestra. The warden, after catching Megamind, is stupid enough to take the watch that was for Megamind. He should know better. It's like he's playing along. Megamind has been captured a presumed 83 to 88 times by now, but seriously, I don't know, the film says both, and is inconsistent when it wants to be, but that only indicates that when it is consistent, it means they want us to see it. Regardless of the evidence pointing to DreamWorks hiding this film with lore, we have to get back to solving it. Right, the evidence of the movie faking everything. After Megamind escapes at the beginning, the prison guards give him a whole 5 seconds to stand there and say, "I'll always be a villain," despite them immediately tackling the warden and jailing him only seconds prior. Even in his speech to the city, he says, "Who'd I be without you?" Interesting. Does he know they created his current psychology? He clearly loves to play along. Even more horrifying, what if everyone, Megamind, Metro Man, Roxanne, Rich...
And again, I'm just gonna reiterate this. I'm sorry I'm not, like, talking as much in this video. Like I said, I have not seen Mega Man or Megamind all that much. I've only seen it once years ago, so, I don't really have much input, to talk about with this, but hopefully this video gets out today, and then hopefully we do, this video at some point within the next few days. Then we get to the good shit. Then we get to the absolute good shit. The More Theories, part 21, 22, and 23. They will all be singular videos each, as to not have me go absolutely mentally insane, from the crazy shit that is about to go down, because, these names are, I'm gonna have to prepare myself. I'm going to have to prepare myself for this. for preparing myself for mind breaks, psychotic breaks, and all that nature.
Everyone knows it's an act. What if this movie is all fake? And yes, I know this is meta supreme, but in this movie, everyone is putting on a show. It makes sense up until like the end.
First, third, and second walls. What? Okay, let me do this. The actor is in the stage. The audience is looking past the fourth wall.
But in this movie, everyone is putting on a show.
Yeah.
It makes sense up until like the end, sort of. Maybe Megamind is behind the whole plan of the government, but doesn't even know it. Well, that's all impossible. But then we get things like this. Roxanne is knocked out unconscious in the car when Minion kidnaps her. When Megamind then proceeds to throw a ton of scary weapons at her, she says, "Ah yes, your alligators, I was thinking about it on the way over." Excuse me, woman, but you were completely unconscious and had no idea you'd been kidnapped, you psychic journalist. So how could she think about it if she had no idea she was even coming? Well, either this is her or DreamWorks being inconsistent. So either it's proof that she's faking it, and by extension everyone, or it's proof that DreamWorks is once again being selective with what they deem is important for the quasi-internet detectives to see. Because then they have just one scene later, phenomenal attention to detail. You can see Metro Man walk behind Megamind. Yes, when it's revealed later in the film that Metro Man used super speed to go for a walk, he appeared behind Megamind, and here you can see a glimpse of him for a split second on the cameras. But, stupid DreamWorks, it's when Megamind is saying something different. Metro Man appeared when Megamind was screaming, "Fire!" not when he was paused. It's not even the same moment. So they have this weird half attention to detail that makes it increasingly difficult to differentiate which things they intend to be inconsistent. They go so far as to show this one special brainbot move up from the crowd and go in front of Metro Man just so that they could prove there was a direct way in which Megamind was seeing Metro Man via camera. And this is very consistent. They didn't have to do this. Then you see a scene where the warden is still imprisoned and watching the TV in Megamind's cell. Wouldn't the other cops have let him out by now? And then Megamind, oh Megamind, he runs into the mayoral office and pretends not to know. What windows are you idiot? You had a schoolhouse full of them. You have a car with them in it. You even discuss them later. Are you faking? Is it an act? Well, duh, it's a movie, but I mean inside the movie's plot, is it an act? And then we get brilliant consistency, like the ice cubes he trapped the garbage in being rehydrated after it rains. Megamind also says various words, weirdly, that he doesn't mess up later. This movie shares so much lore in the form of subtlety. And then, at the end, Megamind sums up what he calls his day, saying he killed Metro Man, lost Roxanne, etc. Even later, Bernard says he had a terrible day. You mean, tell me, that despite the fact that it changed at daytime so many times throughout the movie, it was still one day? No. An act? Lol. Now I'll have some idiotic haters telling me that I'm critiquing the movie for stupid things. I am not critiquing, I am differentiating deductions. I don't want to have another stupid dumb ways to die video misunderstanding of blunt people with no comprehension of what I'm doing. We see more inconsistency when Titan says to Roxanne, "I know everything about you. I didn't know what kind of flowers you liked, so I got all of them." And it isn't played off as a joke at all. Titan literally says that he knows all about her, and then he says he doesn't know what flowers she likes. Like what? And when Megamind fights Hal, half the buildings in the city are abandoned. It's all a facade. There's nothing in them.
I'm sorry
It's
this
like
reaction's
fake
not as good
infrastructure.
as the other ones. I'm just putting it out there. But I do want to get this video out. I do want to get this video up so that you guys at least have some sort of reaction going on here. But again, I'm sorry that I'm not
There is
talking
in
that
place
much.
for battles to occur and damage to be apparently seen. And we see that whenever someone uses the watch, their eye color stays the same. Megamind has these intentionally huge green eyes, and they consume Bernard whenever he pretends to be him. Roxanne didn't notice this or his similar voice, or maybe she did, and she pretended to love him all that time, so he'd clean up the park and return the paintings until her final kiss, where she'd intentionally pushed the buttons on his watch and used her news reporter acting skills to pretend to be shocked at this so-called revelation. Oh my god. Roxanne, you skank. She paused after he talked about being picked on in school. She stayed to get reporter intel, but then we see another inconsistency. When Minion poses as Megamind, his eyes aren't consistent with this logic, but they were for the Warden. What? Is this movie tailoring its logic to give us a mini plot twist? Why? And why does the voice change for some characters, but for others who use the watch, it doesn't? Megamind probably knew Minion was the Warden by looking at his eyes. I mean, that's why he apologized to Minion, to the so-called Warden. He knew it. The eyes are clear. Anyways, I gotta chill out before me being too extra is contagious to them ratchet gangstas. If I reground myself, we can point out the most obvious of the obvious. They have a super technical looking system outside Megamind's cell, because they want him to think he's being captured seriously. They looked shocked when he forfeits, but the guards just straight up sleep on the job. They should be able to keep him locked up for good unless this whole system is just for show. And as I said in the last video, most of the newspapers just say gibberish in them, but not the ones during the opening credits. I need to see those in HD, but I only have Netflix, which actually prevents my computer from screenshotting them. So if you have the ability to snap them, send them to me on Twitter at @TheOriorzerYT. That would be helpful. It would also give me deep insight into the thought process of the Warden at that time, and also comment your theories below. But before I go, I want to mention something super important. On the last video, commenter Sander Sanderson commented that, apparently, in the Danish dub for the movie, they say the school is literally a part of the prison, basically confirming that whole theory of mine regarding the Warden being the bus. Boom! That's all today, but I have a lot more, and in just a couple weeks, I'm going to be making an amazingly in-depth video into Megamind's home planet story, so stay tuned by clicking the subscribe button. Do it. Also click the bell and receive all notifications so you'll be, well, notified. Recently, there have been these Spanish, Brazilian, Russian, and European YouTube channels blatantly steal my content and other theory channels' content. They take the whole theory, will translate it into another language, while getting millions of views on my and other theory channels' intellectual property, and in the bottom of the description they link my video simply saying, here's the English version. I don't like this. I strongly dislike it when anyone takes my content and basically reposts it in a different language, or the same language for that matter. They don't even ask for permission, and no, you don't have permission. Mainly I detest the theft of evidence.
I know that I'm kind of doing it now with this video where I'm just not having any, like, auditory reaction stuff. Theorizer, if you're watching this, I am sorry that this is the way that it is for this video specifically. I just don't really have much input to say with Megamind. Like I said, I have not seen the video, well, I have not seen the movie in a long, long time, so I can't really, input on stuff that happens in the movie. So I'm deeply sorry if this video in particular is kind of seen in a way that is ripping you off. I don't want to rip you off because you make some fucking amazing theories, and y'all should watch the Theorizer because he makes some awesome shit.
I've spent weeks setting out to discover,
In
which
fact,
I hate most. And half of the so-called evidence in
don't
my
know
video
why I haven't
isn't even
put
true
on
evidence,
all.
it's just mini theories I've created, so stop stealing my stuff. Because all of these little theories I am creating myself, and anyone who reposts them is technically stealing. That's just a little blurb because multiple people internationally now have posted this specific theory, as well as my Coraline ones and many other theory channels, over and over again in their own form. And that's technically just stealing, and YouTube can't really do anything about it. But that's not to say you shouldn't keep looking for evidence. To add to here specifically, because this movie is a problem. It's logical but inconsistent. Maybe Roxanne went to Megamind's school as a child. I'll look into it all. Until next time, I'm the Theorizer.
Alright, so those were the 2 MEGAMIND theories done. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. I was just taking it in, like I said, or just taking all of it in. Until next time. Next time, come back, we will finally see if we solve the mysteries of Megamind's home planet, and then we get to the all-important Mort theories. I hope you guys are ready, because I'm so ready for the evidence in theory crafting that is going to happen in these videos. Until next time. Later.